Okay, YouTube. LinkedIn didn't work, but we're good. We are live to the world from New York City. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good. How about you, Frederico?
I'm all right, Blake. Where are you now? Are you in Manhattan?
We are in Manhattan, and we've been spending some time out in the country as well as in the city, which we're excited to be back. It's been a long road, but we're getting back into it.
Beautiful. And we also have Philip here. Hey, Philip.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Tudo bem?
Tudo ótimo.
Where are you?
You have trees in your backyard? I just want to verify that you're actually in the city because
yeah, we do have trees from our bedroom window, which is really nice. We have a courtyard from the bedrooms, and then we're out on the street for the rest of the apartment. So
cool, perfect.
Best of both worlds.
Yes.
So we are literally walking distance from each other, and on 5 channels at the same time, which is pretty cool. On Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, the New York Casas YouTube channel, and our Fred and Yara Gouveia. And also Yara is not appearing, but she's backstage collating, collecting all the comments and making sure things are working in every platform. So I guess we could get started, right?
Right.
Sure.
So welcome, everybody. I also prepared a little artistic opening because StreamYard, this amazing platform I discovered, allows us to do all these kind of professional cue-ins and overlays. So I tested something which is like our official program opening, a la Netflix. Check it out.
Nice.
Right?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
And that was it.
Kind of at one point I thought Game of Thrones was going to come through, but
another song we can associate to New York, yes. Especially nowadays.
Dragon, you know.
And that was Itzhak Perlman on the violin. Not. That was me, and during the quarantine playing with my mother Yara on piano. So that way we don't have to worry about copyrights to anybody on the new Empire State of Mind song. Hello, Jeremy. Hello, Yara. People are starting to join us. So because we are in quarantine and because we have the technology, we decided to begin this Casas conversation series online, especially because we help a lot of overseas clients, and mainly from Brazil myself. And there's a travel ban right now for Brazil to the US. So we said, well, let's reach them this way, right? And so far the technology is helping. What we're going to do today is talk about Manhattan versus Brooklyn, the current state of the market. And we're going to then defer to our friend Blake Weissberg, who's the senior sales director of 11 Hoyt, one of my favorite new developments in the market right now, in downtown Brooklyn. So, para os nossos amigos que estão aqui em português, bem-vindos. Meu nome é Fred Gouveia, nosso amigo Philip Hordijk, dono do New York Casas, está aqui também. And we're going to get started. This will be kind of a schizophrenic conversation, English, Portuguese, maybe some Spanish, French. But we'll deliver the message, yes? And we're going to go right into our opening slide so you guys can get to know a little bit more about what New York Casas is and what we do. So let me put this on the main screen. And as you saw, the New York Casas is an international team of real estate professionals with 20 plus years experiences, and those flags mean that we speak many, many languages, and our website goes all over the world. And this is the information about New York Casas currently. Philip, we've had recently 40,000 unique visitors to the website, right?
That's correct. People had a lot of time to surf.
A lot of time to surf, right? A lot
of time to surf, yes.
Beautiful. So our specialty is helping the foreign buyers' needs, because they have many more needs than a local buyer does. Setting up bank accounts, setting up a structure with an attorney, understanding what the tax implications are, and a whole suite of even concierge and property management style services that many times the local buyer or seller don't really need. So that's the New York Casas specialty and what sets us apart from the competition. We are a boutique firm, and we are currently at 10 plus agents, 14 plus languages that are spoken by our agents, 25 plus nationalities represented, and many deals, as you can see. I don't know about you guys, but ever since the quarantine began, from the last month and a half or so, things are popping all over the place. There's interest, there's people wanting to move, do deals, sell, buy, rent. So this is exciting, right? Compared to the start of the quarantine early in March. What do you guys think? Do you agree?
I definitely agree. I mean, from our standpoint, people spent an awful lot of time at home. And now, after spending a great deal of time in their either rental or residence that they currently own, they realize that they might be missing some things or perhaps not needing some other things. So I definitely see that there's a big push to get back out there and look at property.
Definitely. And it seems to me that the timing is perfect between now until early September, when most people are away for the summer. Those that are in town are going to want to take advantage of the timing with less competition around of buyers and sellers to do the better deals. That's my gut feeling. So I'm going to switch to português very quickly para mostrar o nosso tipo de atendimento que nossos especialistas de real estate aqui em Nova York, eu, Frederico Gouveia, a Yara e toda a equipe do Casas faz. Nosso atendimento consiste em entrevistar o que o cliente precisa, em educá-lo sobre o mercado na fase de tutorial, em preparar todas as oportunidades do mercado. Nós temos acesso a 100% de todas as propriedades, e o próprio cliente pode, no nosso website, newyorkcasas.com, registrar e criar as suas pesquisas, os seus filtros e as suas seleções. That's a buyer for us, by the way. Please tell them to hold.
Right, yes, exactly.
Then, quando eles chegam na cidade, a gente organiza com provedores de serviços parceiros, uma busca no aeroporto, um motorista, recomendações de restaurantes e lazer para a família, porque geralmente os nossos clientes vêm a família inteira. Então, às vezes, os filhos querem passear, querem fazer compra, às vezes um dos cônjuges que está mais focado na compra do imóvel, então a gente pega só esse cônjuge para uma primeira busca na cidade. Depois, numa segunda rodada de visitas, a gente envolve a família inteira, aí vai de um carro pequeno para um carro grande, toda essa logística, né? Aí a parte de negociação em si dos imóveis, a gente ajuda na proposta de valor, a gente tem acesso a todos os dados do mercado para fazer uma comparação de valor pontual de mercado daquela propriedade que o cliente tem interesse em comprar ou vender, versus o que está no bairro e na micro-região, e através da equipe de advogados que falam português, que falam russo, que falam alemão, espanhol, nós identificamos escritórios de advogados e contadores e banqueiros que fazem financiamento em todos esses idiomas para que o cliente sinta-se totalmente confortável. And I wish I could say what I just said in all of the languages in the flags up there, but basically, we've identified trustworthy attorneys, accountants, mortgage bankers that speak the language of the client, whether that language is Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese. We're able to connect the client with this whole suite of service providers in his or her own language. Then after the closing, depois da escritura, da entrega das chaves, a New York Casas ainda oferece serviço de property management, que é a gestão da propriedade. Nós podemos, se o cliente mora no exterior, a gente pode ajudar a pagar o condomínio, o IPTU, se estiver sendo alugado para o inquilino como investimento. Nós podemos também gerenciar essa propriedade e ajudar o cliente monitorando o estado do mercado, mandando relatórios trimestrais de como tá as vendas do prédio, como estão as vendas do bairro, etc. So this is the suite of services that New York Casas and our specialists offer. Boom. Let's get to why we're here today, to give everybody a sense of the current market, a thermometer. And because we have data, it's just such an amazing ability to get the transparent data that's available online and make some sense of it to help people understand where we are today. This is an amazing photo that I love from the website City Realty that shows the skyline of Manhattan as well as the 3D renderings of potential future new developments that have already been approved but have been built. So we can glimpse a few years into the future of how it's going to look like, even more awesome than already is, right? Para os nossos amigos no exterior, this is Manhattan, a tiny little island that's 23 square miles. And the reason I say this is because we're going to compare it with the size of Brooklyn. E em Brooklyn cabem 6 Manhattans, which is 6 Manhattans can fit in Brooklyn, which is quite amazing. So, para os mais habituados com os números de Manhattan, we're going to talk about the numbers in Manhattan. These are for the last 45 days of condomínios, somente condomínios, prédios condomínios, que foram vendidos e registrados na cidade nos últimos 45 dias, okay? You can see up there that there's an average size of those units that were sold, the average of all of them sold, and the luxury average. So we took a higher price range in order to identify what's considered luxury in Manhattan. And this gives you a range for every price point and every size. And you can see down here to the left, the actual number of units that was sold. 11 studios, 76 one bedrooms, 66 two bedrooms, 25 three bedrooms, and 9 four bedrooms were sold in Manhattan in the last 45 days for these prices above, average and luxury. E a mesma coisa vocês veem aqui embaixo em português. Então, para vocês terem uma ideia dos números do mercado. Now, look at how big Brooklyn is. You see up there, Little Manhattan, downtown. E agora a gente vai focar, hoje, só aqui, ó, in this area. Downtown Brooklyn. E a gente vai comparar os números de Downtown Brooklyn com Manhattan. So, in the last 6 months, in Downtown Brooklyn only, these have been the sold and closed units, condos as well. So you can see that there were 19 studios sold, 22 one bedrooms sold, 15 two bedrooms sold, and 2 three bedrooms sold. Now, it's important to mention that these are sold and closed. It doesn't mean in contract. Since Blake's project 111 Hoyt has not officially started the closings, these numbers that you see on the screen are not part of the statistics of in contract. Only what's actually been sold and closed. That's an important point to make, since you will see that Blake's going to talk about 11 Hoyt specifically, okay? So these are the numbers, and Blake and Phil, if you guys have any comments, feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I mean, I would just add certainly sold and closed data is the best data that somebody could use when determining value, right? But at the end of the day, downtown Brooklyn specifically has gone through a major transformation in the past 10 years, and we've never seen buildings, specifically luxury buildings like 11 Hoyt, ever on the market in downtown Brooklyn up until the past couple of years. So we do believe that we are the best project out there in Brooklyn, but it is a building that Brooklyn has always sort of looked to have. And with our premier architecture and our sponsors' commitment, not only to the building, but the general area, we have a tremendous amount to offer, which we'll go over in a little bit.
That's a good point, Blake. These stats are not representative of the level of upscale luxury that 11 Hoyt and other luxurious projects are bringing to downtown Brooklyn. So it's important for us to take that into consideration when we look at pricing for 11 Hoyt.
Maybe you can add the like the luxury segment next time, Fred.
That's right. When we have sold and closed data, we can add it to the
that would be the category that 11 Hoyt will belong to. That's right.
Exactly.
I'll put that down.
For sure. Now, let's look at rentals, because a lot of our clients are investors and they will use the apartment maybe a couple of times, but then after that, they just want to rent it out for long term. And people always ask, what's the rental? What's the rental? So we have data, which is amazing, provided here by Street Easy. And what you see on the screen is a 10-year trajectory from June of 2010 to June of 2020. And the comparison in orange of the growth in the median asking rentals in downtown Brooklyn versus the blue bar, which is Manhattan. And when I say Manhattan, this is all of Manhattan, and this is all sizes, from studios to 10 bedrooms, from a small co-op to a humongous penthouse condo. But this is just to give us a macro view of the growth, where you see in Brooklyn, in downtown Brooklyn, in the early 2010, you had pricing in the mid 2500s, and now you are in the mid 3000s. And you see a similar growth in Manhattan. And on the right-hand side, you see the total inventory. And as we read in many articles and many experts agree, the spike in inventory happened a couple of years ago. And since then, demand for rentals has increased a lot, and the supply does not seem to meet the demand. It's going to be very interesting what the next 6 months are going to bring post-lockdown as we enter phase 2, as we get our popcorns ready for the front row seat of phase 2 of the new New York City, how that's going to be like. So if anybody has any questions or comments in any of the platforms you're watching, please feel free to type your questions and comments, and we'll be able to address them. And also I'd like to mention that if you would like to have a free assessment of the real estate market about your specific needs, if you're willing to buy, sell, rent, or manage your property, write us here and we'll do a private Zoom call with you to understand your needs. And now, without further ado, look at this amazing photo that's just awe-inspiring of the Manhattan skyline and the very handsome 111 Hoyt, just looking at it and smiling. And that'll be the cue for our friend Blake Weissberg to take over the control seat and talk about 11 Hoyt.
Great. So thank you so much, Frederico, for having us present today. We are thrilled to have this conversation with you and your firm. And I'll be sharing our very interesting, very compelling, very thoughtful video first, which sort of shows all of our amenities on a finishing basis of what 11 Hoyt has to offer, which I'll play now.
Okay, let me add it to the stream. Guys, get your headphones, get ready to go on an immersive experience that's going to inspire you, like you're in the project itself. This is as good as technology can get. Shall I put it on, Blake?
Sure, yes, please.
Here we go. Let's see if it's gonna work. All right.
Okay, so that was a sneak peek of essentially our video clip. Frederico, can you hear me? Just want to make sure.
We hear you fine.
Okay, great. So that was a sneak peek of the lifestyle that 11 Hoyt has to offer. We have this incredible website, which I pulled up on the screen, which is 11hoytbrooklyn.com. A couple of things that I want to touch base on is the developer. The developer is a global real estate developer with offices not only in the United States, but also in South America, in Europe, in China. And that developer, that sponsor is Tishman Speyer, who hold approximately $100 billion in assets throughout the globe. So it's a very reputable, very trusted developer who's focused on downtown Brooklyn for many different reasons. One is they had this unbelievable ability to build this 57-story structure, which will have unreal views in every direction. And they've enlisted the help of 3 global designers, starting with Jeannie Gang, who is a native from Chicago. She is a Time 100 recipient, and she is responsible for the architecture of the building. So while we look at this first slide, you see these ripples on the facade of the building, and those ripples are actually functional window-based spaces, not really typically seen in a high-rise building such as 11 Hoyt. And those were inspired by traditional tree-lined blocks of downtown Brooklyn, where originally in the early 1900s, and for that matter for the late 1800s, townhomes and private residences in our area were being built with these beautiful bay windows. So Jeannie was able to apply that sort of surrounding neighborhood knowledge and also desirability of these large bay windows to a large-scale skyscraper such as 11 Hoyt.
And something really cool that I read about Studio Gang and Jeannie Gang's website, Blake, is that one of the projects they're currently doing around the world is the new U.S. Embassy in Brazil.
That's right. So when you get this group of people together who are world-renowned and globally recognized, yes, you do have people like Jeannie Gang who are working not only in Brazil at the embassy. Jeannie also is doing the Natural History Museum of New York City extension, which is a major feather in her cap. And then in terms of the sponsor, they're the owners and proud operators of Rockefeller Center, in addition to 200 Park Avenue South and major buildings throughout the world. So that's just the sponsor and the architect. But what about what some of the other amenities are at 11 Hoyt? We have a private park, which is nearly 1 acre in size, and that's being designed and curated by Hollander Design, which is another world-renowned developer and designer. And they're responsible for creating not only our private park, which sits upon a pedestal of the building, but also our intimate arrival. Our building is very unique from the standpoint that we offer this motor court entry, which really is not seen anywhere in Brooklyn, let alone in very few buildings in Manhattan. So from the very beginning of your arrival to the building, you step into a lifestyle. You step into this motor court, which brings you around to the main lobby. And our private park helps create that lifestyle. In addition to that, we have wonderful green space, not only on the park level, but also from our arrival from Livingston Street, which is to the south of the building. So Fred, you brought up this wonderful neighborhood map. I do want to show everybody this map that we keep on file on our website. Our building, 11 Hoyt, is almost an entire city block, which is almost unheard of for buildings in Brooklyn. And in addition to that, we have close proximity to what's most important to us on a lifestyle basis, which is to 11 subway lines with actually less than a 5-minute walk in any direction. So you can be in other parts of Brooklyn in many of our surrounding neighborhoods, or back into Manhattan in less than 10 minutes. So that makes us a very central.
That's where you got the number 11 Hoyt from, right? For 11 subway lines?
Perhaps. So that's something that was given serious consideration when we put our design hats on and realized what type of clientele we were attracting. Now, on another note, we have a third interior designer who is Michaelis Boyd, who is a London-based design firm. and they do have New York offices. They are responsible for local projects such as the Williamsburg Hotel, but they are really world-renowned for their Soho House concept, which is actually where the British royalty vacations. They've done the Soho House in LA. They have a few actually in Europe, and they work on private estates around the world. And they all, meaning our three global designers, have worked together to create this masterpiece, which has 480 residences, and those range in size from studios through 5 bedrooms at a very compelling price point. Our price points start at $700,000 for a studio and climb over $6 million as we get into 4 and 5 bedroom residences. So we saw a clip of our amenities, but I do want to revisit some of those. Our amenity package is over 55,000 square feet of indoor and outdoor amenities. And now that we've gone through this unfortunate circumstance of the pandemic, we start to look at our amenity package a little bit differently, starting with our co-working lounge. So if you're working from home or you'd like a business meeting at your private residence, you can actually do that in your building. There's 3 meeting rooms as part of the co-working lounge. And then we have traditional services such as a fitness center, which is being run by an operator by the name of the Right Fit. They'll have a huge reception area. All of our amenities are filled with light and air and 20-foot ceilings. We will have a sauna, our fully appointed
that's something
fitness center.
so important, Blake, regarding the airiness aspect of this design.
Yeah.
The fact that it's an entire city block that's elevated above a private park that's outdoor and indoor speaks volumes about the current moment we're in and looking into the future, right?
I definitely agree with that. I mean, one of the things that I like to show, I'm just trying to show our this shot here again. We have a wedge-shaped building, which was designed intentionally as a wedge shape. Here it is. So you could see this is looking down on the 3rd floor amenity space. It's a wedge-shaped building to maximize the light, air, and view corridors from not only the east side of the lawn, but also the west side of the lawn. So that provides what exactly? Light and air to the residents of the building, light and air to the lobby, light and air to all of the amenities. So basically a place that's a pleasure to be in, instead of traditionally some buildings, unfortunately, might have some dark corridors or very limited open views. We have open views in every apartment.
And something that we've noticed in the majority of new developments, the crops in the last maybe 10, 15 years, is that a lot of the developments put most of their amenities in the basement or underground, so that you're feeling like you don't see the street or natural light when you're enjoying the amenities. And it seems that here is the complete opposite, right?
That's exactly correct. So, for instance, this slide up on the screen is our yoga studio. All of the amenities have over 20-foot ceilings, and they all have views of not only the park, but also indoor-outdoor access. So in, let's say, a building that was designed 10 years ago, they might have a pool, but it might be in the basement. This pool has 20-foot ceilings and indoor-outdoor access to our sun deck. Our pool is a 75-foot long saltwater pool. We have lounge spaces on the 3rd floor with access to outdoor grilling stations for private entertaining. We have craft studios on the 3rd floor level, vintage style game rooms. So it's very much a lifestyle, but most importantly, what I would like to get to is the 32nd floor, which has an amenity suite with views of not only Brooklyn, but also lower Manhattan. So this is a picture of our recreational room, which is the Sky Lounge on 32. This is a floor plate of that lounge, but to the west, we will have views of Manhattan, and to the south, you'll have views to the Atlantic Ocean, and to the east, you'll see JFK. So for our international clients that might be flying into JFK, you can very much see 11 Hoyt from such a far distance as you travel into the United States.
It's much closer to get to from the airport to the new address than entering Manhattan, right?
Exactly right. Yeah, the access to not only JFK, but also Newark is unprecedented. Actually, the easiest access points to neighborhood airports would be either in lower Manhattan, but in our case, Brooklyn. So it's pretty close to almost half the distance when you're dealing with places, let's say in Manhattan or on the other side of Brooklyn, that you might have to travel across town or downtown to get out of the city.
Awesome.
So this is our Sky Lounge. We'll have a billiards section, catering kitchen.
So this entire photo that we see, friends, is on the 32nd floor. Look at the double height ceilings. Imagine being in there with your friends. I mean, it's just a spectacular design and airiness, you know.
Very much so. We'll also have a music rehearsal studio with grand piano. That's right next door to that lounge. Yeah, definitely one of mine as well. Our cinema, this was part of our clip before. You could actually sit in the cinema and watch your favorite show or movie, but also have views of the Statue of Liberty in Lower Manhattan. This is One World Trade out in the distance there. We do have a card and cocktail room, as well as our soccer and golf virtual gaming room, and our study nook. One thing that I'll point out is the sensational views in this building. Just wanted to see if I could pull those up for a second.
While you pull that up, I love that you called that a study nook. I have a different definition of what a nook is size-wise. That looks like an amazing study lounge, a cafe with panoramic views of Manhattan. I love it. It's
and
all
by
about
no
the
means
paradigm.
Exactly. So I just want to pull up the views for a second. So really starting on the 25th floor, and by the way, again, we have 57 floors. We have these sensational views. I mean, out in the distance, for those of you not familiar with what we're looking at, this is the Statue of Liberty, Governor's Island. This is Lower Manhattan. So we have the Southern Harbor where the 4th of July fireworks generally are, and then the East River. So these are the views to the west. And then as we pan through to the east, this is all the way out to Long Island. This is actually the Atlantic Ocean. For those sports fans out there, the New Jersey Nets, they actually play right over here at the Barclays Center, which is also home to a lot of concerts. Just last year, Elton John was here. And then Fort Greene. So not only do we have our private park, but we have access to one of the best parks, public parks in Brooklyn. And to our north, which is also a very impressive view, you'll see the Brooklyn Navy Yard, also in the distance here, Long Island City. You'll see the Williamsburg Bridge as well as the Queensboro Bridge, another view of Fort Greene, and actually JFK is on the horizon here. On a clear night, you could see the runway. And then to our south, which is probably my favorite view, is over Boerum Hill, which is a few blocks to our south.
Open. Look at that.
Totally open, all the way to the Verrazano Bridge. This is actually Staten Island and New Jersey out in the distance, and then Coney Island all the way out in the distance there. So you could really see
of how large Brooklyn is. Amigos que estão nos acompanhando em português, essa vista que o Blake está mostrando do prédio, toda essa terra que vocês veem é Brooklyn. O bairro, a cidade de Brooklyn. Como vocês podem ver, é muito maior do que Manhattan.
And one of the things that I'll mention, Brooklyn specifically was the nation's, so the United States' first suburb. So generally suburbs started not only in Brooklyn, but across the United States to offer close proximity to the city, but not living in the city, allowing you the opportunity to live outside the city, but close enough to commute on a daily basis. So that's another thing, back to transportation, which is quite compelling about our building. Out of the 480 residences, we offer pretty much a wide variety of layouts and sizes, but we're offering one-of-a-kind opportunities. So out of 480, there are 200 unique floor plans. There's about 360 different kitchen designs. So you're buying one-of-a-kind in almost every case. But most importantly, you have a choice based on the odd and even floor of the building to have a darker palette, which is more industrial in vibe. So these will have gray lacquer cabinets and black and steel accents, so more industrial, or a little bit more contemporary with white lacquer cabinets and there's zinc accents. Our appliances are Bosch. All of the cooktops vent to the exterior of the building for optimal cooking. And a lot of the material is actually hand selected. For instance, the backsplash that you can see here in the countertops, they actually come from Mount Etna in Italy, while our cabinets were custom designed by Michaelis Boyd. So not only do you have one-of-a-kind residences, there's really two different finish palettes based on your desirability, and that also transcends into the bathroom. So again, more of an industrial theme master bath with these custom designed tiles that are crackle glazed green with a heated floor, or in our classic palette, sort of the opposite tones. So more of a gray tile with a cream tile, which is in the master. And that actually shows up in every other floor, and we name it the Classic and Heritage palette. This picture on the screen here is a picture of our window bay. So this would be one that's located in the bedroom. So you could literally use this as additional seating if it's in the bedroom, or even if it's in your living room, to maximize the views. And the windows are all 8 feet by 8 feet, and the ceiling height's 10 feet. So back to light and air and view corridors, it's really maximized from every space in the building.
Amazing.
In terms of availability, we do have, this is our website. We have, as I said, a lot of one-of-a-kind opportunities. We have most of those represented on our website here. We do have floor plans that you could pull up. As an example, I think that I'll just show you this one. 48B is a classic palette, so that's that light coloration.
Light color, yeah.
65 square meters. It's $1,070,000, and the floor plan can pull up right on your screen. You can see this particular one. There's only 3 of this layout.
Only 3 left, right?
Well, only 3 in this particular layout. So there are other options. The very most of any one layout is actually 10. So there might be 10 similar layouts, but there's only 3 of this kind.
So this is very important for future resale value, friends. There's only 10 unique floor plans of each type, correct, Blake?
That's correct.
That's amazing. And the fact that you'd be able to get a 48th floor apartment. Remember, 48th floor. Remember those views that Blake was showing to us of a real 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment for just $1 million. It's incredible in this type of a prestige and luxury building, right, and location.
And you're talking about views like this from that 1-bedroom, where traditionally, Frederico, developers, as you're aware, didn't really put 1-bedrooms or 2-bedrooms for that matter on really high floors, because that's where the most expensive inventory went, because of the amount of money that you could get for selling something that is much larger with such terrific views. But this is a very affordable option. Also, a couple of things that I want to point out in terms of the availability list. If you see something on here that is close to what you want, but not 100% as to what you, or let's say your customers, are looking for, you could touch base with Frederico, and he could contact me, and I could send him a list of things that might be available that aren't listed online, because we have
remember,
some of
friends,
those
there are
options.
200 unique floor plans. They're not going to put all of that on the website, and we've had a chance to visit the project a few times. I have my personal favorites, including that studio layout, which is the alcove studio, I believe, on the 30-something floor, right, Blake?
Yeah, that's right.
Incredible. Is that still available? Or I remember that was a very popular one, right?
So that particular one that we had discussed, even, I mean, this was maybe 2 months ago, that one had been sold, but we have some wonderful options on some very high floors. I mean, one of my new favorite apartments that we've had a lot of activity in recently is this layout. So this isn't a studio, but what this offers is a private kitchen. So it's separate from your entertaining space with your big window bay. So a lot of people like the separation of the bathroom and the kitchen.
Do you have the floor plan
studio
up that we could see?
Can you see what's on the screen now?
Yes.
What we see is the website and 47E Studio Heritage Palette, but not the floor plan.
Okay, hold on 1 second. You see this, right?
I show you what we see. This is what we see.
Oh, you see that? Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me try.
We have a very big budget production here. There's a whole crew of people in the back doing everything for us.
Okay, so do you see me scrolling just to make sure?
I do see you scrolling, yep.
So I'm going to try and open up this floor plan. You should see this on your screen, 28G.
You might have to get out of sharing your Google Chrome tab, or you know what, unshare and then share again, but just share your screen, because now we don't have to play audio. We don't have to worry about that. So stop sharing and then share again. Instead of just pick the first option that says your desktop screen. Just share your screen.
Yep. Okay. Got it.
Let's see if that works. Now you just have to. There we go. Now let's see if we're able to get that. Yes, that works.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes.
So this is the one that I was talking about that has the separate bathroom and separate kitchen, which is highly desirable for folks looking for a studio residence, because you could really set this up as a fine luxury hotel room, so to speak. But you're the owner, of course, because it's a condominium.
Right. And this one is in what floor?
So this is 28. So when we start getting back to views, let's say on the 28th floor, to the east, this is the view from that studio apartment.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable.
And
now, a couple of other things.
The price on that one?
This is priced at 28G is priced at $860. So you're well under $1 million.
860. For what we saw on the 28th floor. I'm just gonna type that in for folks to make the connection. See, perfect. Thank you, Blake. Look at that layout. Large bathroom, tons of closets, a separation where the kitchen is not spilling into the bedroom itself. So I love it. Now, and the most charming thing is definitely those bay window seats that you can have, you know, can work and just have your coffee there. I love this design element. It's just brilliant.
It is, and it's not really something generally seen anywhere. So one thing that I want to mention also, I'll just show you another one bedroom, one of my favorites. If you told me what's the best one bedroom in the building with the best view, we're probably going to be up in our J line. Tell me if you see 48J on the screen.
We do, yes.
So this is a huge one bedroom. So in terms of meters, it's almost 81 square meters. It's a one bedroom with a huge window bay in the master suite that faces Lower Manhattan. So imagine you're laying in bed, or for that matter, you're entertaining your friends, or even for that matter, cooking in the kitchen. And then all of a sudden you look out the window and your view is this. I mean, you'll get the sunset.
Wow.
You're going to get all of this from this particular layout.
Wow. And this starting at that what price?
So this is the 48th floor. So 48J is priced at $1,455,000. So it's definitely one of the more expensive one bedrooms in the building, but you have unobstructed views of Lower Manhattan. So for those folks who, let's say, might be coming in a few times a year or even more frequently than that and want to feel like they're in Brooklyn or in New York.
Go back for a quick second, Blake. I just want to highlight a few things that I personally love, and based on feedback from working with clients, is this walk-in closet is incredibly spacious for a one-bedroom apartment, and that seems to be one of the main complaints that we hear from buyers into new developments, is that they create these beautiful amenities, the beautiful layouts, the beautiful designs, beautiful finishes, beautiful bathrooms that are super spacious, sometimes too spacious, and then they forget closets. So what are you supposed to do with your things? Right? Whereas this, it was so well thought out. And looking at the measurements of the master bedroom, you're not in a cookie cutter small master bedroom. You even have that awesome diagonal slant of the bay window that has that, is it facing south, right?
It's actually southwest. That's
southwest.
Kind of the angle. Yeah.
Nice. So you have this beautiful all day light and the sunset views. Must be amazing. Yeah.
Now I'll show you just one more. I do this intentionally because for those folks who are listening to this and think that's very nice, there's studios, one bedrooms and two bedrooms, but I travel with a lot of people and I'd like to have space for everybody to spread out. As a very good comparison from Brooklyn to Manhattan, I'd like to just show you one of the most compelling 4-bedrooms that I've seen. So 35A is a 4-bedroom that is almost 179 square meters. It's actually going to be too big to fit entirely on the screen, so we'll do it. We'll do it in half. You have this wonderful entry gallery with this private master bedroom with a 5-fixture master bath, meaning the shower stall, the tub, and the double vanity. Closet space is unbelievable. And then you have this library, which is right next to this huge corner living room. So the view that we just discussed is the same view out of this apartment to the west. And then you have 2 private bedrooms, so they have access to their own bathroom. So this is really a grand apartment at an incredibly affordable price. As an example on pricing, 35A is $3.4 million. If you were anywhere other than Brooklyn, let's say, since we were comparing Manhattan to Brooklyn, you would probably be in the $5.5 to $7 million range for something like this. But this gives you the opportunity to live in the most luxurious building with the most unbelievable designers with a reputable sponsor for a fraction of the cost.
And that's an additional point to that, Blake, is the competition of similar type of units in this area. When you compare that to Manhattan, how many 4-bedroom, massive open penthouses, condos, ultra luxurious apartments are there available on the market to rent right now?
So not many.
Several.
In
downtown Brooklyn, I couldn't. You can't even find statistics for 4-bedroom apartments. They cap at 3 bedrooms because if you want something bigger, you would go to a townhouse. You know, those beautiful historic brownstones, but you have no amenities, you have no services, you don't have staff to assist you with anything that you need. So for a buyer or or even a renter that is going to be mobile, and this is the way of the future, mobility, you'd find much more peace of mind if you can just enter your lobby, get your packages, your deliveries, your suitcases, your clothes for rent from Zara, and who knows what's going to happen. And all of these services that are plug and play. And you can, when you're not using it, let's say as an investor, there is a lot of movement happening, a lot of people that are leaving New York, especially people that have many children that are moving to more spacious places. So there's always the conversation, do we go to Connecticut? Do we go to Long Island? Do we go to New Jersey? Do we move to Florida? And a lot of people go, okay, we make those decisions. But then a lot of people say, well, how about Brooklyn, right? And this has been the trend for the last 2-3 decades of people getting not only priced out of Manhattan, but feeling too crammed in Manhattan, finding larger spaces for less money and still the same amazing quality of life in places in Brooklyn. And especially downtown Brooklyn now has become the hottest, one of the hottest neighborhoods there for sure. So for even people that are considering a potential move to Brooklyn, but they're not sure yet if the whole family, you know, in cases of big families, if they're going to adapt to the schools and everything, what's going to be their number one decision? Well, let's rent there first for a year or 2 and see if we like it. And if we like it, then we purchase. So for an investor to be able to purchase a unit like this at 11 Hoyt and put it on the market for rent, you can get a fantastic premium on the rent amount because there will be a line of people, I think, of demanding this large type of floor plan in a full service building, in the level of amenities and beauty and design as 11 Hoyt. So I just wanted to address that point, emphasize that point.
All very good points. Now, I'll just leave you with 2 other things. We mentioned the lobby in this conversation. We do have this wonderful coffee lounge. This adds to the lifestyle. So you literally enter the building. You're in this unbelievable lobby with nearly 40-foot ceilings. You have a cup of coffee, which by the way, is complimentary throughout the day. You go up, you take we do have a dog park as well. You take a swim in the pool. You go up to your apartment, you look at the view. I mean, you really don't have to leave. This is a community in its own respect. We do offer parking for purchase for those folks that want to keep a car locally, and then storage for those pesky items such as suitcases or skis and surfboards. So we'd be able to offer that as well.
And in the future that everyone talks about co-living, shared amenities, communal lifestyle, these amenities don't just exist in the building, but they're going to be actively used with programming that's going to be catered by professionals, right, Blake?
That's right. And that's the right fit. That's the organization who will schedule things like yoga classes if somebody desired that. They have the ability to bring in outside masseuses. We have massage therapy rooms. We also have a squash court, which I don't have a rendering of. So if somebody wanted to play a game of squash with an instructor,
squash is very popular in Brazil. Quadra de squash, pessoal.
Changing the way.
So sky's the limit. It really adapts to your lifestyle, and it offers everything that you would expect in a full-service 5-star condominium.
Beautiful. So now let's talk the numbers and the purchase process. So let's say I'm interested in buying. How much do I have to put down?
So we require 15% deposit, 15. So essentially on $1 million purchase, that would be $150,000. Your attorney would review all of our documents and our contract prior to contract signing. At that point, if everything looked good to you, you would submit your signed contract with 15% deposit and the balance at closing. And your closing is very much driven by the floor you're on in the building, but our closings are coming up after the summer. I would say between now and the end of the year, with full completion to be Q2 next year. That's an estimate, of course, but probably within the next, I would say 5 months, there's going to be a great number of people moving into the building. It'll be fully habitated. The private park will start to get planted following the summer in September. So we're well on the way, and we're at the tail end of construction. And up until now, we have been selling out of our sales gallery, which we could certainly accommodate tours, hopefully starting next week. So if you did come into town later on this month or next month or throughout the summer, we'd be able to have you in our sales gallery.
And one thing about this park that I keep thinking about, you on your website, there's actually an entire schedule of blossom and the different types of flowers of when they're going to blossom and germinate. I mean, it's just amazing for those that are artists and into gardening and landscape. It's amazing. They thought of every single aspect of this. I love that. Yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was just going to say, to your point, yeah, talk about a layer of detail. They've not only selected colorful plants that will last in season, they've selected plantings and their planting program to last throughout the year, which will also double as a butterfly garden. The monarch butterfly actually travels from northern parts of South America and Central America through downtown Brooklyn, and these botanicals will actually draw the monarch butterfly back into Brooklyn and double as a butterfly park in the warmer months.
Amazing. That's really oasis bliss living at its best.
Yes, exactly.
Can you almost hear music, in the backdrop? So, okay, 15% deposit. At contract the closings between now and mid-2021.
Yep.
And for those that are watching that are real estate brokers outside of New York City, and you would like a partner that would represent your buyer and his needs exclusively, we can assist you. We have a very good referral partner program. And if you're anywhere outside New York, anywhere in the world, contact us. We'll have another Zoom call privately to discuss your buyer's needs or your seller's needs and the different referral fee structures that we offer. E para aqueles que estão assistindo e são corretores imobiliários em outras partes do mundo, inclusive Brasil, Portugal aqui, e vocês gostariam de ter alguém que representasse os interesses do seu cliente exclusivamente, pudesse levar ele em qualquer lugar, seja em Brooklyn, seja em Manhattan, seja no 11 Hoyt, dependendo do que ele precisa ou que ele quer comprar, vender, ou alugar ou administrar a propriedade. Olha aqui para nossa legenda embaixo, Fred and York Casas and Info New York Casas, para a gente marcar Zoom call. This going back and forth between Portuguese and English is a mind bender. Okay. Well, Blake, I wanted to thank you so much for your time and for sharing all the beauty and just stark design of 11 Hoyt. I'm a fan. I've been evangelized. I've drank the Kool-Aid on 11 Hoyt. I love it.
Great to hear.
I'm biased. Philip, any final thoughts, comments?
Well, first of all, both of you, thank you so much for setting this up. I think, we're looking into a new way of bringing projects like this one under the attention, and we're seeing these virtual showings with a professional like Blake explaining everything about a project, first virtually and then in person, hopefully when we reopen next week. And I think that it's a great way because it's a more detailed presentation of a project where when you are physically there, you're often distracted as a customer with maybe the marble model kitchen, and you're touching everything and you're not necessarily catching all the details that go into a project like this. I doubt anybody would have picked up on the butterfly garden in a in-person meeting. So, that is, I think it's a great first step for presenting your project, and undoubtedly we'll see some follow-up on this. So thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. This is going to end our broadcast. If you have any comments or questions, ask on the channel on Facebook, YouTube, and email. And we hope to bring you to a personal tour of 11 Hoyt or another project in the city very soon. You guys be safe, stay well. Let's rest up this weekend because phase 2 opens on Monday and we're going to be very busy, and I can't wait to get out there again.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And we are